All right, here we are. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Benedict Construction. You almost got some, the DVD comes out with the director's commentary. You have to buy that to hear our in-between segment talk here. Benedict Construction, you live in it, you sleep in it, you eat in it. Holidays, snow days, summer days, you're always in it. It's your home. So shouldn't your home be your dream home? Make it so with the custom remodel specialists at Benedict Construction. Call Dan Benedict this week. Talk to him, find out why so many homes in East Tennessee have been reworked, redone, remodeled by Benedict Construction. All right, we've got some recruiting news coming up. Then I'm going to mention something about Donnie Tyndall. Man, Tennessee got lucky on that front. But first, I want to go over to the Benedict Construction big board where we have tiny type. And for those of you with bifocals, I apologize. What we have there are 11 coaches. Obviously, you've only got 9 coaches on a staff, but we broke it down just so people could be clear. Offense coordinator upper left, out is Mike DeBoard. Candidates, as we mentioned in that first segment, Larry Scott, who I think will probably be promoted and get the thing, Zach Azzanni, Mark Helfrich, and then Mike Yurcich, who is the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State. His name has kicked around a little bit. Quarterback coach, now technically Nick Sheridan was your quarterback coach last year. So many people say, well, they didn't have a quarterback coach. You did, he just wasn't a frontline guy. He was a quality control coach that worked with quarterbacks. He's now left to take a full-time position at which Michigan? Is it Central Michigan? Well, yep. There you go. I'm sure there were some connections there. Candidates to replace him, as mentioned earlier, Chris Winkie was in town this weekend. Matt Canales, who Butch Jones bragged on last year when he was the interim coach at North Texas. Former Vol Bo Hardegree, who's with the Chicago Bears, I believe. And Ken Dorsey, who is with the Carolina Panthers. Winkie with the Rams, by the way. Running back coach, Robert Gillespie, that guy's probably going to stay here. Good recruiter. I don't see any move there. Anybody see any move there?
No.
Wide receiver coach Zach Azzanni, the only thing I could wonder about there is if Larry Scott gets promoted into that position, would Mr. Azzanni want a bolt? So we got nods on the
Possible.
set? Okay. Larry Scott, tight end coach, also handles special team, probably going to get the promotion. In my view, we'll see, could be wrong. Offensive line coach, a lot of people wondering about Don Mahoney. A lot of people wondering about that one, whether or not you'll have change there. Defensive coordinator Bob Shoop, of course. Maybe he'll be able to bring in some of his own guys. You look at the defensive line coach, Steve Stripling. There's talk of him possibly moving into an off-field position. If that happens, fans are already talking about Brady Hoke, the former Michigan head coach, as a possible replacement. Linebacker coach Tommy Thigpen, great recruiter. Don't see him going anywhere. A lot of speculation about Willie Martinez, defensive back coach, and Vol fans looking for Terry Fair, former Vol, that could replace him possibly. Strength and conditioning coach, current, well, technically it's not finalized, but matter of time and paperwork, that's Rock Gullickson. Worked with Butch Jones, knew him from the Rutgers days. He has been with the Rams as well.
He's been receiving mail at UT.
So there you
already.
go. But he's not official.
He's not official, but he's getting mail.
I would assume somewhere there's a memorandum of understanding, as they call it, or somebody's checked a box on a cocktail napkin and said, I'm in. Any other shifts, changes you think could be on the way? I mean, I've ran through the whole gamut. Is there anything I left off?
You never know. There could be just a surprise out of left field. It seems like that's fairly common in college football, especially even after signing day, after that deadline.
I would say quarterbacks coach Butch Jones, if he does decide to elevate Larry Scott, could spend more time looking at resources and possibilities for that position. Because you could probably come up with a lot of options if you want to go with just a full-time quarterbacks coach, especially if you go to the NFL level.
Did mention this coming into the break. Everybody remembers the Culture of Disaster article that came out. I was talking to a friend of mine, source over at UT this week. Asked him about that, and his response was, if there's a list of 900 things on it, culture isn't on the list. The culture is not a problem. They still buy into Butch Jones. Players like Butch Jones, always did like Butch Jones. If there's a problem, though, think about that strength and conditioning coach over there. And we said that after the Appy State game. After week 1, we said, is it too early to ask about the strength coach? Problem, from what I was told, was the fact that you have a team that can, it's a player-led team. Butch Jones kept saying that. Team came to Butch Jones and said, Dave Lawson is working us too hard. Butch goes to Dave Lawson and says, well, can we dial it down a little bit? There's some friction there. Okay, we'll make a change. On the nutrition front, your nutritionist wants to get them lean and ready to go. Well, at Georgia, they get ice cream night. And at Kentucky, they get hamburger night. Butch Jones goes to the nutritionist and says, well, can we make a change here? Same thing. So I think maybe he learned from that. We'll see if he learned from that. It looks like it. He's making a change and bringing in somebody else. Will he let him run his system and handle things? Or will he continue to say, well, why don't we dial it down? But I think his big mistake wasn't the culture last year. The big mistake was the whole the idea of the player-led team. His players led him astray. I think he gave them too much leeway last year, at least too much say in terms of strength coach, nutritionist. Agreement?
I think
Agree,
you're
disagree?
right. No, I agree with you, and I think that's exactly what happened with both those positions, in particular strength and conditioning. Some of the players went and complained about Lawson. He was out. And the red flag to me also was raised in October when we were interviewing Don Mahoney, and we were asking about his offensive line, and he said, I had concerns about our lack of strength in August. Really?
Yeah.
Lack of strength in August? You had concerns about which tells me your strength and conditioning program wasn't where it needed to be to get those players where he wanted them. And when I heard that, I thought, yeah, they got a problem here.
You got 4 strength and conditioning coaches. You now have you went without a slot last year. You moved Lawson out of there and you just left that, and you promoted Zerson up into the ranks. You wonder if Gullickson's going to bring 3 people with him, or 1 person with him, or 2 with him, or whatever, or if he just inherits these 3 and keeps them. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Well, let's check the mail. We'll see.
We'll
who else
check
is
his
gonna
And
be
there
on
is a
there.
change in the Rams head coaching position too, so there could be people looking to get out of there. You
So
know,
Jeff
yeah.
Jeff Fisher could come be your assistant strength. All right.
Like Chris Wing.
That's right. When we come back, Josh Ward's got a breakdown of recruiting for you. We got a scouting report on UT Carolina. We got more information. Also want to send out some good wishes to a member of our family here. We'll do that a little bit later. Come on back on the Sports Source.